heighten it.
Sound is okay, na?
Yeah, it is okay now.
Okay.
But then
Okay.
it will be better if you increase it a bit more.
Okay. Okay. Now is okay?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
So should we begin or wait? Okay, so we should start. Thank you for joining us for the first talk of the Young Folklorist Lecture Series. This series is an initiative by the Center for Folklore Studies and Research, and its aim is to explore the latest research within the field of folklore studies from emerging young scholars who have completed their studies within the past 5 years. Through these talks, they tell stories of their research journeys and the discoveries they made during the course of their studies to the advantage of recently enrolled postgraduate and PhD students of the field. The speaker for our first session is Dr. Kumar Ganguli, who is presently a librarian of Sonamukhi College, which is affiliated to Bankura University. After completing a master's in history from Rabindra Bharati University, West Bengal, he earned his bachelor's and master's in library and information sciences from Jadavpur University and PhD in the same discipline from Calcutta University. He gathered over 10 years of experience in his professional field. His research areas include intellectual property rights, copyrights, and issues about the preservation of traditional knowledge and cultural expressions. He presented in many national and international conferences and published 8 papers in peer-reviewed journals and conference proceedings. The talk he will deliver tonight will argue how baul music can benefit if its protection as a form of traditional cultural expressions, that is TCEs, is enhanced under Indian copyright law. So Manoj da, over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you, Spandita, for introduction with the lecture series. I think sound is audible clearly, or if any issue, kindly. Is it okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, okay. Thank you. And before, first of all, good evening to all the participants and moderator. And first of all, thanks to Intajda and obviously CFSR to CFSR team. Firstly, I am here to present on which was entitled on the protection of traditional cultural expressions under intellectual property rights to develop and extend the traditional art form. Here, I am here specially for the new scholars or new generation. I am shared to the all the research journey from previous 6 and 7 years of this journey. First of all, how to develop a pilot study, and then how to explore the research and how to filtered or frame out the research will share with you. So first of all, here the title mentioned of this particular title, protection of the traditional cultural expressions. Here TCEs in the abbreviated form is TCEs. So traditional cultural expressions under the intellectual property rights to develop and extend of the traditional art form. Here, so many traditional art forms are available in our society. But problem is that my research area specially focus here, my research title is not included here, but my focus particularly one sample form, that is the bowls. So not only the problem is that not only the bowls, but problem is the traditional art form or traditional cultural expressions in our society. So first of all, in my research journey, to frame out with the guidance of my supervisor, first to explain that the first of all you frame out or to identify the problems. So first of all, uh, select the identification of the problem, and this is the journey of 1 year to frame out the title or to frame out the identification of the research problem, or this problem identification is the very vital for new researchers or new generations of the researcher, because the particular research problems, if it is valid problem or it is the logical and clearly mentioned that the problem is obviously authentic, then it will go ahead and to elaborate and what are the solution or what are how to benefit the society and how to overcome it. Here to discuss, let's discuss all the areas. So first of all, in that particular title, first step by step to explain about the research journey, and first of all few terms come out, that is what is traditional cultural expressions. And traditional cultural expression, just as a student, as a new researcher, as a new discipline, so traditional cultural expression is not only the expressions of folklore but also to expressions of different forms like music, dance, different type of designs, different type of names, signs, symbols, and all the uh, things, all the forms which transmitted orally from generation to generation. It is not any fixed form or in a written form, but may be considered as the forms which traditional culture is expressed, form part of the identity and the heritage of a traditional indigenous community. And these all the terms are previously not a structured form, but internationally in the country of the Latin American countries, very consolidated all the traditional cultural forms in a resource form, and also they store in a resource center. And after that it is come out, and we should follow their cultural tradition and orally transmitted cultures, how to store, how to preserve it, how to protect it. But unfortunately, in our society, lots of forms, cultural forms, maybe it is a tangible form or intangible cultural form, but problem is that the we can't able to not yet structured or stored or preserve it to disseminate our knowledge or traditional forms. So World Intellectual Source is the World Intellectual Property Organization described that traditional cultural expression is the integral part, or protection is related to the promotion of creativity and cultural diversity, and obviously our cultural heritage. Because if we discuss in our constitution, in the article number 51 AF describe that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to value and preserve our cultural heritage. Because if we not able to protect our heritage, protect our tradition, protect our uh, cultural tradition, then it will obsolete day by day. Because maximum cultural form, if we we'll discuss all the areas. So if we not able to protect, then next generation not able to know about what about the culture, what about the origin, who are the root followers particular form, then we'll all the areas. So first of all, we'll frame the pilot study, then identification of the problems, and after that the problems and the research questions, and then the field based activities step by steps will going on. So then protection of TCEs. I think as sound is okay.
Yes, it is okay.
Okay. So protection of traditional cultural expression. So protection of traditional cultural expression is the just before the main focus, before the main area, then we'll discuss step by steps all the areas. So like protection of traditional cultural expressions is the indispensable of developing nations to promote the development. Development means the to protect, how to preserve it, how to maintain it, how to disseminate. Because if we once the fieldwork based activities, then renowned persons like the long time working on the folk field, they describe that like Shubhendu Maiti, renowned folk researcher described that we can't all collect all the material, collect all the rich resources like songs, like manuscripts and other recording part or many things, but it not a stored, because if we stored in any custody, then it is called a mummy. But if we disseminate it or share it, then it will better to use it, and to next generation will use, next generation to know about the culture and dissemination of our heritage, and obviously to preserve it for long term access and heritage outside of the country. So if traditional communities do not take steps to benefit from the folklore, others will. The problems is that interesting thing is that if we not able to protect or preserve it, then third party or any commercial organization or any commercial ventures will collect or borrowing without any intimation. So that IP can help, IP as a tools to protect our heritage. So how it is possible? So why TCs like baul songs? Because baul song here use a one sample. If we use any other forms like Bhatiyali, Bhavaiya, Bhadu, Tusu, and many forms are availability in our society. So first of all, we'll especially in this presentation we'll discuss about the baul songs need IPR protection. So how it possible? Next is the introduction. So just all audience know about the introduction of the bauls, because baul now a wide area use know the songs, and obviously after 2005 the baul tradition was included in the list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. This is the recognition of the bauls. So who are the organization? UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations described about the importance of this and value addition of this heritage. So bauls generally identified by their distinctive clothes and their pitch, tonal quality, and maximum their cultures, their practices, their religious practices, and lots of things in entered in the baul. So little musical support and primarily sung by the vocal expressions is a totally different, and this is the traditional cultural expression. But interesting thing is that, so why need a IPR? Why should incorporate here to IPR? Because maximum baul songs are transmitted orally. Very interesting thing is that problems begins. What are the problems? Problem is that maximum bauls, root baul singers, root baul followers, it may be sadhaks and many religious cults who are involved, the root followers of the bauls, their written lyrics, they are composite and sung in a perform in the akhadas, but it is orally transmitted from generation to generation. But problem is that not any fixed form, not any written form. So in the age of globalization, in the age of technological advancements, few commercial ventures collect or borrowed, or any remix based organization to collect the lyrics, collect the songs without any prior informed consent. This is the legal term. So prior informed consent is the without any intimation, without any permission from the practitioners. So it is not a authentic or not a legal practice. So it's needed to permission. So practitioners not able to know about the how to it protect, how to is preserve. So need a IPR based protection. So who should protect? So any organization, any association, like it may be CFSR may play the role, and not only CFSR, different organization to protect or to preserve through in a resource center, in a library, or many things, and for long-term access. And they all the non-baul community or any user to use it and to know who are the songs, who are the lyricists. Because problem is that after that we'll discuss you know about the all the area. So state of the art, existing IP protection systems are inadequate to protect TCs due to, so this is the problem step by steps to identify. and due to lack of comprehensive and credible documentation. Documentation is a very vital, because already discussed about the documentation part, because it's orally transmitted. The origin essence of baul is somehow getting drowned because burden of heavy instruments. You know about the remix form. Maximum cases, the bowls are fake bowls in the name of bowls perform superficial music. Bowl as one finest TCEs and immediate attention, so that the rich heritage, because if we focus on that resource center and many preservation initiatives, then we'll differentiate the fake and the root practitioners, because it is essential nowadays, because next generation not able to know who are the bowls, who are the root bowl practitioners, who are the which akhadas is the authentic, and many things. And if any new researcher to know about the bowls, then they clearly know about that. So countries like Philippines, Panama, Indonesia, Bolivia, and different countries devised the sui generis system. Sui generis system means it's of own kind. Own kind means if how the structure is, then we'll develop a policy. So policy frameworks. Here problem is that Indian Copyright Act, you know about the copyright. So how it is possible? So Copyright Act is in the 1957 can protect IPR, intellectual property rights. It's called a Medha Sampottir Odhikar. It's a rights. Rights, who are the rights owner? So rights owner, copyright is applicable to the author's rights. Authors means where the known authors. Fixed form, written form. If anyone write a lyrics, anyone write a books, anyone write a anything of that, any drawing, and they are mentioned the name, then is the applicable for rights and the author's right, and they are included in the Copyright Act. But some extent there is need to specific system of protection of TCEs preserve and promote our cultural heritage. But problem is that in the Baul case is the communal output or communal outcomes, because unknown author, unknown publisher, unknown lyricist is so we not know who are the lyricist maximum cases. So how it possible to protect it? So then anyone can use it. These all are in a legal term is called a public domain. So public domain, all the cultural outcomes like lyrics, songs, different, they are not able to anyone can use it and remix it, changes it, and few cases the original flavor of the baul song is somehow get drowned and somehow get changes. So it's not a expected, so that it need to organization or any forum to protect their cultural heritage through any database, through any particular form, to marginalize, to boundary the boundary wall, so that to protect the traditional cultural expression as baul song, to protect it. So root practitioners, we should follow the root practitioners practices, akhara based chorcha, so many things. So I think the statement of the research problem after 1 year, one visited some visited many places, visited in the akhadas, visited in the different workshop like a National Law University workshop related to the traditional cultural expressions, and collaborative work with Indonesian scholars Laina Rafianti. They are involved in the traditional cultural expressions, their practices, their form. So here baul songs, if we follow if should baul songs are now subject to misappropriation, degradation after pilot study, after different interviews with the baul performer, baul akhara based practitioners, root followers, and after interview with the with recording tools, and analysis it, and then identified few problems. So what are the problems? So problem is the misappropriation, degradation, misrepresentation. Is a very interesting thing, is the misrepresentation. Anyone can tell about the misrepresentation? If any audience, misrepresentation, if anyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. So me, okay. So okay. So misrepresentation is that misrepresentation any bowl performer uh, represent in abroad about the song, because we know very well about the bowl song is the some decode it, and then you should or bowl performer to know about the inner meaning of the song, because in these songs or in these lyrics not possible to the audience what are the actual meaning of the song, because if is some analysis of this song. So if any performer sorry, any performer clearly know about the representation of the songs, so how to analysis of the song or how to analyze it, then not able to possible to full fledge it how the song representation. So before start the song, who are the lyricist, if the uh, unknown author or it is called a procholito or traditional or many things, and then before start the presentation some criteria is there, like the song is depends on that and this analysis is the before start the presentation. So before start the song, they analysis the song interpretation. And misrepresentation is problem is that they represent the community, they represent our society, and they represent our community. So very vital when any representative of the sect represent any bowl song, uh, clearly not know what are the song meaning, and then they perform it, but they misrepresent of this that particular community. And piracy is already we know very well, in use in the film, use in the commercial advertisement and many things, but the originator the creator is not know about that. So fail to mark its real identity, lack of preservation policies is the problem. And main bowl artists are fake representatives of the bowl sect who are only looking for the professional musical program to milk his materialistic profit. Because nowadays so many NGOs are available to represent the community, and they sell the product about the songs, their artist and many things. But reality is obsolete day by day. So, objective of the study to identify the existing IPR to protect BOWL as TCEs, to identify the scope in the national and international IP framework, and to protect BOWL as cultural heritage, to design and suggest new form of IPR. So, scanning some literature, I can't to elaborate it because I think it is boring. Some literature I have studied already through field work, through communicating the four workshop and many things, who are involved in this field, like a traditional cultural expressions and legal practitioners. So cultural practitioners, musicology and different disciplines personality or eminent persons will with their discussion, and some come out some the result, like a expressions of folklore in the public domain. So a folklore to need to protect, and preservation and promotion of the folklore or heritage preservation is needed. And problem is that more or less commodification in the era of globalization is the commodification entered already discussed, and it's need a sui generis system to establish norms. So research questions already discussed. Can we protect bowl song as traditional cultural expression using IPR tool, to relate IPR tool, and how to preserve bowl mechanism? Can we draw any proposal? So approach to answer the questions. So next slide is the data collection and methodology. So how to collect the data and what are the procedures, what are the scientific methods. So first of all, sample for the data collection, non-probability, random sampling, and snowball. Snowball means the we can't able to know the real performer or real practitioner. So need to identify the root followers. So first of all, selected few who are like in Bankura, Sonamukhi, near Sonamukhi, one renowned baul, sadhak baul, like Sonatan Das baul. Sonatan Das baul previously, long ago, in 40-50 years, practices in a ashram. And their sissa is renowned Parvati baul, now belongs to now Bangalore, very popular. So and then will snowball and they communicate with the Sanatan Das, and then communicate to Nitai Das, and so many bowls. Information collected from that particular root practitioners. So that's why the snowball sampling strategy is collected and already communicated with the 70, near about 70 samples. And then data collection, field survey, and identification of the gap, and then exploring the possible scope and draw some recommendations. And then the chapter at a glance, you I will share all the and also my thesis also already uploaded in the Shudkonga database. You know, chapter wise all the details, and once you, if you interest in that particular field, so how to IPR is helpful to protect our folklore. So digital preservation and metadata is the very important part, because you already you worked on the library. So CFSR is a very rich collection of the books, and in future content and many digital resources will preserve and content analyzed it and to protect in a database form. So legal protection of the TCEs field in this field is very essential. So steps to generating the ideas. So pilot study, narrowing down the, so it is the generating research ideas. So anyone can do the research. So first of all, pilot study is the very vital. Then after pilot study, narrowing down the area and the mapping the ideas and refining the ideas and researching the main ideas through the literature review and taking notes and to validate their work and taking notes on the decisions, and after that to go ahead with the particular area. So here the intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights, how to help can play a key role about the traditional cultural expressions. Here a picture is the umbrella to protect our creativity. So anyone, any form, any cultural form in a orally transmitted from different and also different issues like a misappropriation, misuse, commercializations, and many things, to protect the originality or protect for the next generation. So need a IPR or IP is a very essential, because intellectual property rights is the protecting traditional cultural expression and can be play of designing the mechanism of access and benefit sharing, because the community is the financial requirement is very vital, because if the financial or daily essential commodity is very effective, because and along with the funding issues is very essential to survive the cultural practices, to continuing their practices or to promote their practices. So adaptation of the traditional copyrightable. And next is the here some instruments, traditional baul instruments and the modern instruments. So problem is that day by day is the obsolete of the traditional baul instruments. You know, maximum performer uses the modern instruments because the sound effects, hybrid mode of the sounds, and many things. So it needs a protection mechanism and protect, because originality or original flavor of the baul song is should to use the traditional form or traditional instruments. So traditional versus rock band, and here in the traditional baul, same song performed by in the band form, but few cases the changes the form, and also along with the different or one situation is that in performance, in one performance they earn near about 6,000 or 5,000 with all the team, and the journey about with the train sorry. And but in the folk or performance in the stage with the band form, they're near about 40 to 50,000 rupees. So problem is that there how to survive it or how to promote, and we as a custodian or as a audience, how to protect it. So government should take initiatives about the traditional art to protect it. So field work, different field work is working with the Vishwanath Das Baul, Kartik Das Baul, Satyanando, Pous Mela, and construction. Another thing is the Joydev construction with the Baul Academy, funded by the Tourism Department, Government of West Bengal. But till now, not expectation is very low, yet not any practices, I think, and it's need a more initiatives in to protect our culture, to protect our tradition, because rich heritage will disappear day by day. And the different workshop attendant. And here is the Baul song fails to satisfy the requirements for copyright protection. We know very well, because copyright is tell about the 1957 copyright told that the identifiable author, but in the Baul form is the communal protection needed. So communal, because unknown author, unknown publisher is maximum cases. So need a database protection, need a communal protection. And if any society like CFSR or many society to come and go ahead and to protect it and to disseminate to the user to use it, this is the Baul. This is the because in technological advancement, lots of softwares and lots of content analysis to share the resources possible in abroad. So it's need a metadata. So let's discuss about the metadata, obviously, and we'll share my papers also. So how to protect it, how to metadata it, and many things. So threats, here are the threats from after pilot study, and we'll discuss through the field work some threats to identify from the root followers, like a commercialization, degradation, and very shortly we'll discuss the sustainable initiatives to promote Baul song, misuse and misappropriation, already discussed, funding issues, awareness of the community, of the masses, because mass not aware. The Baul community is facing survive situation, many problems are there in rural remote villages, very rich collection, but day by day is obsolete. So need immediate protection, because few manuscript is obsolete. So once in the searching digital tools used during the survey, study area, different districts, and researcher collect the following information. So I have researcher origins of a particular Baul akhada, to identify the akhada, to restore the Baul culture, to root properties of the Baul song, and young generation towards traditional Baul. And public library may play, because public library nowadays is the situation for surviving situation, because maximum public library now is requirement is going on, but public library may play in preserving the documenting Baul knowledge, because everywhere public library is available, near about 3, 5 or 10 kilometers distance, one public library in each gram, one public library is also available. It may, I think, a long time is lock and key, but public libraries physically is existence is availability, and may play the great role to preserve our cultural heritage. There are the lots of scope there. This is the platform, and need to IPR protection traditional Baul root culture in associated with traditional knowledge. So here is the some statement here, not elaborated. Will survey and different informants or respondents occupation wise discuss and come out some problems, and here are the situations, and they are agree that the commercialization, lots of commercialization, degradation of the recognition, lack of sustainable initiative, misuse, misrepresentation, lack of Baul resource center, very vital point, and obviously remixes it, and lack of preservation policies, awareness, and obviously funding issues is the very major issues, and findings and segregated in the different sections, like distribution will not elaborate. Main point is that the here is the major findings in the section 4, root Baul song pattern identification or unique identification through two modes. One is the artificial intelligence or computational understanding approach, and another in the human understanding approach. So computational understanding approach through the some here use the testing for MATLAB tool for spectrum analysis, but here MATLAB tool, if we use any artificial intelligence tools or softwares to use the vocal analysis, this is the depth of the voice or quality of the voice, and another thing is the human understanding approach. So who are evaluate human understanding approach? So human means this field, who are the experts, who are the role model of this field, who are the root followers in the long time, fourth generation, like 40 years above practices, they evaluate it that this is the actual baul song and they are the root followers. So then we'll segregate it. These are the fake and this is the root. So it's needed, very essential, and some information about the programming code and not elaborate it. And here is the unique certification mark or sound mark, and to sound mark is depend on IP. So protect the real lyrics of the tunes. So here is the metadata. So upper limit and lower limit frequency value calculated through the automated process. So this is why sound mark is needed, because sound mark is needed to segregate or to differentiate the originality or flavor of the. So if we create a metadata of a particular song and upload it in a database, then the next generation will know the sample, title, who are the contributing artists and who are the lyricists, if availability, and human understanding approach, expert point of view, age-old practitioners or other practitioners will evaluate it. Is what instrument used, remarks and voice quality, and the machine or any artificial intelligence to evaluate what are the upper limit and lower limit. Here the model metadata. So metadata is uploaded in any database, and then after that next generation will know which is the title of the song, genre, which subgenre, and date of release, author, performer, and many point or sub point are there. So lyrics of the full vernacular is the song বাজলো বাঁশি ওই কদম তলায় যেতে হবে এবার সখী জল আনতে যমুনায়, and many things. This is lyricist lyrics in a English translation. The flute fluttered under the kadam tree. Oh, mate, this time we have to go to fetch, and many more. All the available. We'll share the details and ownership. Vishwanath Das Baul, lyricist, and many length and duration of the song. And if you incorporated loudness, acousticsness, pitchiness, popularity, and many things, if we feel it, then it will more acceptable and more it will very effective if we create a metadata. So certification mark is the sign used to distinguish good and services which possess a certain quality. So benefits of what are the benefits? The benefits is the increases the marketing power. If we protect the baul song and baul performance and the akhada or katist, and along with the preservation unit or resource center, where the books, manuscripts, e-resources, musical presentation, and many content based practices, manuscript, and many things are available in a one platform. And another thing is the protection, and with the protection mechanism is also. So safeguard is particular in this case. What are the benefit is that? The benefit is the to disseminate the next generation with the authenticity and safeguarding of the authenticity. So here is the New Zealand based the National Indigenous Arts Advocacy Association. So it protect it through the Turtle Advocacy Association in the shape of the logo, and Tohio Maori made there are another logo to protect baul song. We should obviously to the particular model we should follow through the certification mark of our cultural form or cultural form. If it may be tangible or it may be intangible. So problem is that intangible, because tangible form is the in a ready product to protect it thoroughly, but in intangible form is the not touchable. So in a musical form, some lyricist, composite, and many things. So it obviously we protect through the sui generis model, like a protection mechanism through the database protection is called. And the already discussed the harmful distortion, cultural appropriation, and misrepresentation to baul music elements of a country community. So borrowed the non-community members, very effective tool. So copyright system does not contemplate ownership that span of the community. Alternate protection mechanism through the variants IPR. If we protect the IP-based practices, then revenue revert back to the community in the form of grants or creative inspiration. If we create a license, if we create a rights, then anyone to purchase it, anyone can use it through proper remuneration, through proper proper way of uh, practices. So outcomes of this study, what are the outcomes? Can provide the policy tools, protect Baul cultural heritage, empower artists through simplified legal knowledge. And another thing is that the simplified legal knowledge and valuable traditional cultural expression of Baul song need to be documented, decoded, preserved, revitalized, and it is inspired to develop a data bank, digital library on authentic Baul song that can be facilitated as a tool to study a folk music, particularly Baul song, and way to get introduced to the authentic Baul folk traditional music for next generation. So social implication of this study, preservation will help Baul socio-economically and propagate their value system, and documentation for future generation to protect cultural heritage. And what are the limitations? Funding could have shaped the work for better manner, being a full-time working professional, very essential. Researchers feel the much more sample Bowls should have been approached to know their opinions. Present scenario, the researcher did not have any control over the respondents. The researcher had to seek. Lots of problems are there here. Some few incorporated important point: availability of better equipped sound laboratory infrastructure could have brought more precision of the experimentation. And some recommendations here, like Department of Information and Cultural Affairs, Government of West Bengal should develop a central database is essential for the folk music resource center or documentation. Local administration come forward to promote folk music. Folk music artists should be made aware that they submit their composition to the said folk music resource center. All the Baul Akhada may be regulated any monitored ban authorized body of Baul consisting of some nationally and internationally recognized rule Bauls and submission of their registration song database. And trademark rule 2021 may be amended to include full folk music as sound mark for
Hello everyone, please wait. We are trying to get him back. So please wait. We will start soon.
I think sound is some disconnect and sound is mute, so that I can't able
Yes,
to.
yes, Manoj, you are completely out of touch. So you should. Do you want to begin now and resume?
Yeah,
You please.
I can't know when it is disconnected because sound is muted. Then not
So
where.
you were on the slide that was speaking of recommendations.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
So I think some data is problem is there. So I'm not able to present here. So but we'll discuss in that mode and presentation in that area. Sorry, which part? Which part?
You were
Recommendations.
speaking of recommendations. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So recommendation. Sorry for the interrupted and sorry for some problems, raising some problems. So here the recommendation part, Department of the Information. Is the sound is audible? Will in the
Yes.
through phone?
Yes.
Okay. So recommendation part is the Department of Information and Cultural Affairs, Government of West Bengal should develop a central database in the form of folk music resource center on the documentation. So local administration come forward to promote folk music. So folk music is a very folk music artists should made aware that they submit their composition and set folk music resource center. So resource center is very essential to protect and mechanism and all the baul akhada may regulated and monitored by the authorized body or bowl consisting of some nationally and internationally recognized root bowls and submit the registration of the songs database. And trademark rule 2021 may be amended to include full music as a sound mark for music composition, because sound mark is the very essential for the identification to communal practices, and folk music may be included in the academic sector. In the higher studies is already available different folk practices in a special paper, but in the school educations like the secondary and higher secondary level, to introduce about the folk music is essential for the tradition of the Bengal. So public library may play an important role in the documentation and preservation of baul music and in the study area, because in everywhere 2-3 kilometers distance in the one public library availability is there. But problem is that the nowadays public library is very unfortunately public library up to the mark situation, so need a essential or need a effective role in in coming days to preserve our cultural heritage, to protect or to preserve our cultures like Baul, Bhatiali, Bhavaya, and different rich collection of resources, rich collection of their resources like songs, lyrics, and many things. So most importantly, a sui generis law for the protection and promotion of the cultural expressions and indigenous communities need needed in the on the hour. So public library is the custodian of Baul folk culture and the many here. And finally, after the frame out of these the pilot study, then step by step we'll go to the different articles, and finally sui generis model protection of the bowls. So article preliminary, bowl copyright information, and duration of copyright. You I think in this session not possible to complete all the things, so need a all the articles availability through the Sudkonga database about the overall thesis. Then you obviously you read out all the articles. So I think in this session, I think more or less complete, and I think interactive few. If any question or any feedback from that your end, and I think it will better for me to upgrade or to research in that area uh, to and to contribute to the community or to help to the community, because after awarded the PhD, I will working on the few artists to how to protect it, how to preserve it, and along with some to protect mechanism through the few manuscript as well as different recordings and different are availability and through the YouTube platform. So obviously welcome to your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Manojda, for such an illuminating talk and presentation. I find your talk unique in that you approach Baul Fakir culture from a legal perspective and not just anthropological or ethnomusicological or literary one, and also indicating how CFSR can particularly make an advancement to that direction. You discussed many things, many heavy things. For example, you identified Baul practices as an intellectual property, and also pointed out how it needs to be protected. The term you are using it repeatedly from commercialization, and of course the questions of authenticity, protection, and roots are very contentious and diffuse issues, but they're worth taking into account when we think of the exploitation of folk artists in the industry or in the market. And it is also interesting in how you employ a very computational approach and a very digital humanistic approach to identify what an original or root Baul Fakiri song can be. You ended your presentation with a proposal for identifying sound mark, and also underscoring the important role that public libraries may play in protecting Baul Fakiri culture. And you also identified the difficulties in enforcing such rules, and also what a sound mark should be. You of course showed some examples, like how you found out a song by Vishwanath Das Baul very authentic, and also indicated how other songs can be. And I have many questions. I will restrain myself from asking these, and will open the floor and invite questions. Thank you.
Anyone, any question? Sorry, one write down. Can you read, write down?
Yes, yes. So it is Bonostri Khashnovish is writing, thank you for your lecture. Wish we had more time. Can we register on behalf of the artist? Can we register for one song?
Yeah, it is possible, because if it is depends on the copyright, it is very easy to register, because in the copyright is in copyright 1957 Copyright Act incorporated there the different formats for registration. But here is the communal form, because maximum cases in the Baul Baul, or not only Baul, Chumur, different forms are unknown author, unknown publisher, and maximum is the traditional from generation to generation. And maximum for when any performer perform, and then before before start presentation, they talk the this song is the traditional, and need a registration, and registration is through the metadata form. Metadata form means the it is called a sui generis model through the any database, or any organization form a database and to protect it and then register it. And who will the honor of this communal production? We are all know, we are not know about who are the author, who are the publisher, who are the if any economic help to the so it's a help to the body who developed the database through metadata, and all the information incorporated in the database, and obviously the society, organized society, structured society, and authentic society to develop the database and registered, incorporated there. And this is the resource center and folk resource center, Baul resource center, and many things will help for the registration. I think clear the questions.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I hope you please answer one more question. How to know that the song has not been registered before?
Sorry, kindly elaborate.
Sir, how to know that the song has not been registered before? Like maybe some researcher or maybe a practitioner, someone has already registered that song through IPR. So how do we know that the song has not been registered?
Yeah. Yeah, so this question is very in this situation is not possible because first of all our community is scattered. That's why in first cases when to identify the particular form Baul community, we can't able to identify the where are the Bauls. So few cases here is the mixed up with the fakes and original. So first of all to identify the Bauls, and then through the snowball sampling strategy. And here in the central database yet not organized, so need a central database of the bowl for registration, and then it possible to if it is registered or previously registered or not, because in now not possible to identify yet to whether it is registered or not. That's why the problem is that when anyone uses it in the any film or songs, then the custodian or the practitioners claim that these songs is my lyrics, use it my lyrics without any prior informed consent. So it is not and who will the struggle it, or who will the claim it. So this that's why need a organized form. This needs a society to move it and to challenge it. This is the communal output, and needs it preserve it. And if you need a registered songs, lyrics, and things, use it any borrowing or any use it in a film or advertisement or any promotional activity, then need a permission from the society or from the cultural organization, central organization. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Indasda, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Spandita, for your permission. Anyway, I think this is a vital moment for all of us, and Manos' work is really excellent. And maybe I'll share with you the PhD thesis link. You can read more about this because it is not the task of one people; it's the task of many of us. Many of us can have that kind of recommendation and the policy making. Even I always in conversation with Manos, and he told me about this, and I told him by seeing his thesis that it is really a great work in case of policy making. Even the government can take it up, central government can take it up, or any societies or any NGOs can take it up. But it is a huge task, but we need much more awareness to all these folk artists. They should know it. What is their intellectual property? If they don't know it, you know, we cannot do anything. So that is actually challenge for all of us, because most of us people are not aware of this. What is their intellectual property? So in that case, I think we can have a discussion with Manas later on as well, and we can put this message to all these folk artists, right? And gradually, with their support, with Manas support, CFSR can do something on this ground. But again, I'm very much thankful to Manos and Spandita for organizing or hosting this event. And we are always there to support Manas and other people as well. so that we can implement these policies. Uh, we are not the government agencies and all, but we can, make it in on the ground level. Thank you very much.
Manusda, please share your email ID on the chat box. Vikram Chaudhary has asked for your email ID.
Okay. I think we'll share the mail ID, and along with Interda, we'll share the all the PhD thesis also to read the papers and chapter wise. Clear the presentation about the presentation, because in the shortage of time, not possible all the articles, 9 articles for the recommendation. So it better for to study, and if you any interest in this field, we'll discuss later on. So I'll share it through. Just a minute.
Aliadi, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir, for this wonderful presentation. And indeed, you are doing a great job. And I am in Delhi currently. Now, few days back, we went to Delhi Heart. So there, a lot of traditional artists come and perform. So we had a talk with them, and we were just planning the kind of work that you're doing. So what if we also record their songs and so on. So it will be great if I can get in touch with you, and also learn about the kind of work that you have done yourself, so that I can do, or we as a group can do the similar kind of work, not in a great scale, but maybe a small effort to help them record their songs. And the kind of body that you're saying now, it needs a kind of a formal body to protect their work, the lyrics, because we see that in Bollywood also, in recently the Bollywood also appropriating and misrepresenting the songs in a modern way, which in a way popularizing the songs, but also completely misappropriating it. So we
Yeah.
need to protect the folk songs of Rajasthan, Haryana, and of course from Bengal and other states. So can I please get in touch with you?
Obviously, no issue. If any time you and also the mail ID is also available, and communicate, and already shared with the my contact number with the Intajda. And if you any time you discuss about the, because I am interested in this field, and after the awarded PhD, we include with the CFSR, and obviously the resource center is very essential for the communal output, because in our lots of traditional forms are also available, but lack of protection, lack of and also is the very essential part of the lack of metadata. This very essential to create a structured metadata to protect our a form, cultural form.
Okay, sir, I will be needing your guidance to prepare this metadata structure, so that I can fill in the details there. I'll get in touch with you surely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any questions?
If anybody else has any question, please ask it or put it in the chat box. However, since nobody is asking anything, I will use my privilege as the moderator and ask two questions. Number one, I would ask, when you spoke of those artists who do not belong to the Baul Fakir communities, and then make remix and fusions of these songs, and then misappropriate and distort these songs, and then exploit the community. But what happens when some renowned folk artists themselves use such heavy instruments and heavy musical instruments and then make the songs? Although yeah, although it is slightly difficult to see like who in the field who has 40 plus years of experiences and then using such instruments, we have to also see that microphones and then harmoniums were also external to the traditions. And when harmoniums and microphones came into play, there was a huge criticism leveled against these kinds of things. But then now these instruments have been incorporated in the tradition and then we are using it. So who knows, perhaps after 50 years from now, bass guitars will also be incorporated in the tradition, or maybe violin and things, Western instruments will also be incorporated in the tradition. So, what happens when these folk artists themselves use these things? Akhra based artists themselves use these things. And number two is, you spoke how films and some recordings like use these songs without the permission of these communities. But suppose some artists compose some songs and then it is performed by some other artists in some other performances, maybe some melas, some gatherings, or in some sadhu sanghas. So what happens to those cases? So if you just briefly address them. You are not audible, Manusda.
Okay. So once visited in the workshop, is the controversy is that the problem is, and some controversy is there. So if is the remixes or heavy instrument is not used in the bowl song, or fusion, some fusion is for the research purpose. If any bowls used in the any promotional or any documentary, we not use in the any documentary film. So where is the written in the, so this is the lots of controversy and lots of issues. So need the different types of different types needed in the uh, needed to use it, but in presence and guidance of the fourth generations, like the 40 years and above 30 years practices, under the guidance of the Baul root followers, to guide it, and in with the consent of these particular root followers, and they use some fusion in presence or in suggestion with the root followers. So it is some scope are there, because if we not use it, and same cases in the heavy instrument, if we use it but in the sound and in the feedback sounds, and if his sound is more comfortable, sound is lots of noise, sound is different from the baul gharana, it's a very is essential in the baul gharana, following properly following the baul gharana, because obviously it's a traditional instruments, traditional songs, and obviously in the flavor of the traditional song. But in recent scenario and day to day is changes, and if some cases it's use it, because in the reality show and many cases we use it in the different for the research in the fusion, and lots of terms are used, but it is possible with in presence of the age old practitioners. I think some concept is clear about your questions.
Right. We will discuss it. We'll discuss it
Okay.
later on. But then
Okay,
there
okay,
is
okay.
one more question, two more questions. Number one, Orko Samanto is writing, what is the role of filing copyright in the context of protection of intellectual and intangible property?
Yeah. So I think complete question. Yeah. So intangible property and the intellectual property, intangible, tangible and intangible. Here, intangible property rights and intangible cultural heritage to protect through the if the baul songs and baul cultural rights is the essential to protect our through the database and through the central folk library and central resource center to protect and through the metadata format. And so that is the in the copyright, because directly copyright are already discussed on the presentation that the 1957 Copyright Act not possible to protect only the and this is tell about the only the author's rights, and the baul cases is the communal. And in 2005, the masterpieces of the cultural heritage, and also in the constitution incorporated that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to value and preserve our cultural heritage. So needs a protection mechanism through the communal body and through the sui generis model, and it is extended to the copyright and incorporated in the copyright, because Indian Copyright Act not incorporated the communal formation, but in the other country like Panama, Peru is incorporated in the Copyright Act to incorporate it, that the baul copyright not only the here in the incorporated the baul copyright, but scope is there. But other country, their traditional culture and intangible cultural heritage is incorporated, already incorporated. So we should follow our country to extend in the Copyright Act or to amendment in the Copyright Act.
Okay, so there is one more question by Sangjukta Noskar. Copyright protection is for 60 years post the death of the author. Does this rule apply for the baul songs that are copyrighted?
No, because already told that it shall be the duty of every citizen to preserve our cultural heritage. And another thing is that in 2005 UNESCO incorporated the cultural heritage, and in the if it is already told that it is heritage, so heritage is the means that in the because all are in the public domain, so not to protect in a particular year. In the author's right is the 60 years in the applicable for the Copyright Act, but here the cultural heritage, so that limitation not possible. So it is the no boundary about the years and no boundary about any years, because it is a 1000 years and many more. It is a database protection through the database and uploaded it and use it for the betterment of the community of a particular sect or particular intangible culture like bauls or any cultural form. But boundary is not required.
Does anybody has any question? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Okay, so we'll end this session now. Thank you, Manojda, for this talk. It was really wonderful to hear you. We will end the session, and also thanks to the participants who raised brilliant questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Spandita, and thank you all the participants. Thanks and good night.